It's October 24, 2010, and welcome to today's edition of Sports by Jack, where again I'm talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs. When did it become okay for an organization like the Leafs to become mediocre and stay that way? The Leafs are supposed to be one of the most storied franchises in sports history, yet in my lifetime they've accomplished virtually nothing. I'm cool with Phil Kessel doing well. I like the fact that we got Clark MacArthur. I like Brian Burke as the GM, and I like our defense and our goaltending. But what I don't like is the media and the fans being okay with the team making the playoffs or shooting to make the playoffs just because we haven't made it in a few years. It doesn't matter. I mean, really, they're supposed to be chasing the Stanley Cup. Isn't that what every team's supposed to do? But you don't see teams finishing 7th and 8th place and winning the Cup. I mean, sure, the Oilers finished 8th one year and went to the finals, and the Anaheim Ducks finished 7th or 8th one year and went to the finals, but it's really hard to go on the road for 4 series in the playoffs and come out the Stanley Cup champion, and that's why you need to get that home ice advantage. That's why you need to have that chip on your shoulder where you're going to go out there during the regular season every single night and expect to win. The Leafs had that for 4 games. And you heard the players say it through newspapers and interviews and whatnot. But all of a sudden, I'm looking the other day through the paper before these Leafs go on this 3-game winless streak here, and you hear a guy talking about how they only need to finish 500 to make it to the playoffs based on last year's statistics. The Leafs need to develop the kind of branding and attitude or culture or whatever you want to call it that the other sports franchises that are considered legendary have in their locker rooms. Namely, the Lakers, the Celtics, the Yankees, teams of that ilk. The Leafs have never struck me as that kind of a team. They used to be that kind of a team when there were only 6, but now it seems just okay for them to make the playoffs. Maybe it's because Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment doesn't care about putting a winning product on the ice, because they know they don't have to, because the seats are going to be filled every game as long as they're not mathematically eliminated. That's cool. You want to make a profit, turn a profit. And you know what? The Leafs are going to do it every year. Whether the Raptors are good or whether the Leafs are good or not, doesn't matter. They're going to make money. MLSE is a money-making machine. So that's cool from a business standpoint, whatever. But really, if you're in player operations for the Leafs, you've got to want to bring pride back to the organization. And I'm not saying Ron Wilson and Brian Burke don't want to. They've got, attitudes about them. They've got egos. They've got pride. And they're known for saying what's on their mind. So they clearly want to win. And they're both determined bastards. But really, this is not acceptable. This kind of talk about how they can only play 500 and still make the playoffs. That doesn't matter, because I don't want to see them play the Capitals or the Penguins as a big underdog and then end up golfing. Because then you know what happens? They lose in the first round, then they don't get a good draft pick. They get some mediocre player that's going to end up being a second or third liner instead of getting like a John Tavares or Steven Stamkos or Sidney Crosby when they could have tanked it in years past. Of course, you're not guaranteed to get the top pick anyway, but it might be nice if they either finished at the top or the very bottom to get some top talent, as opposed to finishing in the middle of the road where you make the playoffs but you don't get a good draft pick and you don't really have a chance to win the cup, so you're sort of stuck in sports purgatory. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Leafs for today, and if you're not watching this channel, then of course you don't know jack about sports.